You're watching this video for a reason. Maybe she left last month, maybe last year. Maybe she told you she stopped loving you. Maybe she left for someone else. Maybe she just disappeared emotionally before she disappeared physically. Doesn't matter how it happened. What matters is this. You're sitting here wondering, what happens to her now? I'm going to tell you, not to give you false hope, not to make you feel good, but because the truth, the real psychological truth of what happens to a woman after she walks out, is something almost no one talks about honestly. Stay until the end. Hit number 12 will hit different. Hit number 1, her first night with the new man. Here's what nobody tells you about that first night. She didn't feel free. She felt hollow. Psychologists call it emotional whiplash. She spent months or years fantasizing about this moment, the escape, the new beginning, the passion she convinced herself was missing with you. And then it happens. And it's just a person, just a body, just a moment. The butterflies she sold herself on? Mostly adrenaline, the kind that disappears by morning. She wakes up, and the first thought, whether she admits it or not, is your face, your coffee, your habits she used to call annoying. That's hit number 1. And she doesn't even know she's been hit yet. Hit number 2. Other men don't treat her like you did. This one takes a few months to land, but when it does, it's brutal. She left you carrying a list of complaints. You weren't romantic enough. You worked too much. You weren't present. You forgot anniversaries. Fine, but here's what the dating market teaches women fast. The average man out there isn't building a life with her in mind. He's not thinking about her future. He's not losing sleep over her problems. He's not reorganizing his schedule because she had a bad day. You were. Even when she didn't notice. Especially when she didn't notice. By month 3 of freedom, she's already experienced 3 men who canceled plans, 2 who disappeared after intimacy, and 1 who made her feel like a transaction. And suddenly, your flaws look different. Hit number 3. He leaves her within 9 months. If she left you for someone specific, pay attention to this hit. Research on rebound relationships is consistent. Relationships that begin as affairs or emotional exits rarely survive past the 1-year mark. Why? Because that relationship was built on escape energy, not love escape. He was the symbol of freedom, the rebellion, the fantasy. Once the divorce is real, the legal fees are real, the custody schedule is real, the fantasy evaporates, and what's left is just a man who helped blow up your family. She looks at him differently now, and when he leaves, which statistically he does, she doesn't just lose a relationship. She loses the entire justification for everything she destroyed. That's a psychological catastrophe, and it happens around month 9. Hit number 4. She realizes what you actually did for her. Nobody warns women about this moment. It comes quietly, usually at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. The car makes a noise. Who do I call? The taxes need filing. How do I do this? The kid is sick at 2 a.m. I'm doing this alone. You handled things she never even knew were being handled. Not for credit, just because that's what you did. She starts doing the math in her head, the invisible labor, the financial architecture, the appointments scheduled, the problems quietly solved. the emergencies you absorbed without making them her crisis. And she realizes, I never once said thank you. That realization doesn't make her reach out. It makes her go silent for days. Hit number 5. The louder she says she's happy, the worse she feels. Watch her social media. Women who are genuinely happy after leaving a relationship don't post about it constantly. They're too busy living it. But the woman who posts 3 living my best life photos per week, who tells every mutual friend she's never been better, who makes sure you hear through the grapevine just how free she feels. She's screaming into a void to convince herself. Psychologists call this affective overclaiming. The louder the performance of happiness, the more fragile the internal reality. She's not showing you she's okay. She's asking herself to believe it. Hit number 6. She starts obsessing over her own betrayal. This hit is the one that keeps her up at night. Not guilt about you exactly. Something more complicated. She has to live with the version of herself that walked out, that maybe lied, that maybe destroyed a family for something that didn't last. Identity is built on the stories we tell about ourselves. She told herself, I deserve better. He wasn't enough. I had to do this for me. But now those stories are cracking, and the woman who cracks her own self-narrative doesn't handle it well. Some become angry, at you irrationally, because anger is easier than guilt. Some go numb. Some throw themselves into work. New men. Anything that stops the inner voice from finishing its sentence. Hit number 7. 3 scenarios every ex-wife goes through. After the dust settles, women who leave marriages land in one of 3 psychological patterns. Scenario 1, the denier. She doubles down, cuts you off completely, rebuilds an identity around being the one who was brave enough to leave, will never admit regret, but she's the one who cries in the shower. Scenario 2, the reacher. About 14 months in, she reaches out. Casually at first, a hey, how are you text. A reason to talk about the kids. She's testing a door she publicly swore she closed forever. Scenario 3, the rebuilder. She accepts what happened, grieves it genuinely, and actually moves forward. These women are rare, but they exist, and ironically, they're the only ones who truly heal. Which scenario is she in? Watch what she does when she thinks you're not looking. Hit number 8. Her friends start saying he was the real one. At first, her friends cheered her on. You go, girl. You deserve happiness. He was holding you back. But friends see the data over time. They see her struggle. They see the men she's dating. They see her tired eyes and the forced smile. And slowly, one by one, someone says it out loud. He was actually a good man, wasn't he? Not a question, a verdict. And she can't defend against it because she knows it's true, and because it came from the people who were supposed to validate her choice. Hit number 9. She opens a dating app. It breaks her completely. She downloads it, expecting attention. She gets it, briefly. But then she sees what the market actually offers a divorced woman in her mid-30s or 40s. She sees the patterns, the men who want one thing, the men who disappear. She spent years in a relationship where one man's entire world revolved around her stability and future. And now she's a profile photo competing with hundreds of others in a swiping interface. The contrast doesn't just sting. It restructures her understanding of what she had. Hit number 10. Regret arrives, and there's no road back. Regret is a strange thing. It doesn't arrive loud. It arrives the moment she sees you've moved on, when she hears you're doing well, when she finds out you met someone, when she sees a photo and you look lighter. And suddenly the story she told herself, "He'll fall apart without me," collapses. You didn't fall apart. You rebuilt. And now there's a gap where the road back used to be. And she has to stand there and feel every single thing she chose. Hit number 11. The most painful moment of her life. It's not when he leaves her. It's not the divorce papers. It's the specific moment she's alone, really alone. And she runs through the math of her life. What she had, what she traded it for, what she got instead. That moment has a name in clinical psychology: counterfactual grief. Grieving not a loss, but a choice. It's the hardest grief to process because there's no one to blame but herself. And women who left marriages are often completely unprepared for it. Hit number 12. How runaway wives end up. The hour of reckoning. I'm going to be direct with you now. Studies on life satisfaction after divorce consistently show that women who initiated divorce report lower long-term happiness than women who stayed and worked through problems, or men who were left. The escape fantasy has an expiration date. The freedom has a cost that compounds over years. And the woman who walked out on a man who was genuinely trying, who built something real, who showed up daily without applause, she carries that weight in ways that don't show up on Instagram. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about waiting for her to fail. This is about you understanding one thing clearly. What you had was real. The fact that she couldn't see it yet doesn't mean it wasn't there. You didn't lose. You just lost her. Those are very different things. Focus on what you're building. Focus on who you're becoming. The man who rebuilds himself after a betrayal is the man nobody expects, including her.